Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the score was 125-108. The Lakers beat the New Orleans Pelicans, and it was one of the best shooting games you'll ever see the Los Angeles Lakers ever perform in. We broke our franchise record for the most threes in the first half with 15 threes made, and Malik Beasley had all to do with that. Uh, 24 points, I believe it was. My mind is going blank, but he hit, I believe it was 6 out of 12 or something like that. Phenomenal 3-point shooting tonight. I think he actually shot better than that. It might have been better than that, but nevertheless, man, 35 points from AD, uh, 17 rebounds, 11 out of 18 shooting. Uh, he hit all but one free throw, got to the line a grip of times, over 14 times. So that had a lot to do with well for us. D'Angelo Russell was 5 out of 10, even though he did a lot of damage in the first quarter to kind of run the score all the way up. I think most of the misses came in garbage time. He was really, really super efficient when it mattered most. I think in the second half we just kind of took our foot off the gas, kind of just did whatever, turned the ball over a lot, didn't really care too much because we had such a huge cushion. At one point early in that third quarter, we had run the score up to a 40-point lead. So at that point, it was just about guys just staying healthy, not necessarily keeping our foot on the gas. And I wasn't in love with how we approached it. I wanted us to continue to try to run the score up even more, and we ended up letting them come all the way back into the basketball game. Uh, they cut it, I think, as much as 12. I think it was as low as they got it. So that's a significant cut into a 40-point deficit. But I just don't think the urgency to be to kill them was there. I guess the urgency to run the score up was there, but then we were just kind of playing not to lose after we had run the score up. That's not championship ball, man. I'm telling you right now, it's not. I respect what we did in the first half, but in the second half, we just showed me that we're not quite the killers that we need to be. We're not, because there's no way you go up by 40 points and then at any given time the team starts feeling like they're in it. Any given point in time, and they did. There were points in that fourth quarter where they legitimately thought they had an opportunity to strike and get this game back from us, and that's unacceptable. So there's a lot to look at in that second half to just say um, that reminded me of the old team that we had in the first half of the season, uh, particularly against the Pacers that time when we were up by 17 and just proceeded to not run any plays or do anything to help ourselves at all, and just proceeded to watch them come back in the game, as to which um, I'm pretty sure it was Nim Hart who hit a game-winning three-point shot on our floor in that same game after blowing that 17-point lead or something like that. This was another one of those opportunities for us to yet again have our hearts broken, and we just did not see it happen. So I'm very happy about that. But we played every bit as careless and lackadaisical in the second half to have seen something like that happen. So for as happy as I was in the first half, was as unhappy as I was in the second half, to be honest. I just don't like being careless when you have a huge lead, when you must win. But we won. We definitely won, but it was so much more respectable than we wanted it to be. Uh, I think Beasley was 7 for 11. I don't remember. It's bothering me that I don't remember his 3-point shooting. 6 of 10, something like that. But he shot extremely well. Extremely well, to say the absolute least. And it's just what we needed. The doctor ordered that exactly. Rui Hachimura also chipped in with 2 threes. Um, I believe it was D'Angelo Russell who had 3 out of 4 threes himself. Austin Reeves knocked down a 3-point shot. Anthony Davis knocked down a 3-point shot. So it was just everybody launching threes and hitting them at a high clip. And then Anthony Davis on the inside, especially in the first half, basically couldn't miss, on top of Malik Beasley also not being able to miss. So it was just perfect offensive basketball in the first half. And I encourage everybody to check out my halftime video with my initial reaction to it, which essentially sums up all of my feelings about how good they played in that first half. Um, it was really, really spectacular stuff, man. I don't think any team should really want to see us in a 7-game series at all, just from the sheer nature of we have players on our team that can do this. You know, Malik Beasley, I mean, this is the second game we've seen him just completely bust the game open. We saw D'Angelo Russell do it against the I believe it was the Raptors, where I think that was the game he busted open. Just shot a bunch of threes in the fourth quarter. It might have been Memphis. I don't remember. But we're seeing ourselves win games on the 3-point shot. Um, and it's a spectacular thing considering how horrible of a 3-point shooting team we've been, especially to start this season, but even more so just in general. We're not a team that does this. We don't have shooters normally. So for us to finally be on board with the modern era and have some real shooting, it feels great, man. It feels great. We've been waiting on this. As a Laker fan, I've been waiting on this for a very long time. So that was what I want to say. You know, Troy Brown also tripped in, got some triples down there. Um, just seeing a whole lot of good shooting. You know, 46% from behind the arc. I think we hit like 18 or 17 of them. Fantastic stuff. And then, you know, we were concerned about the rebounding. We understood that they had Larry and Jones and Valanciunas and you know, those guys, Hayes, but we just didn't see them a lot tonight. We really didn't. They did not find a way to do anything with their size at all. Anthony Davis 8 and 8 often, and the 3-point shot was just open for us all night. So I don't really think we saw the Pelicans play really Pelican ball at all. I think you saw the Lakers get out to a 14-0 start, shooting a bunch of threes really, really fast, and you saw the Pelicans get out to a slower start, just, you know, on their own, you know, just shooting the ball, especially anemic, playing especially lackadaisical themselves to start the game. Uh, you know, I thought that I don't know if they thought that Trey was going to step forward. Like, since he had 9 threes against the Blazers in the last game, maybe they thought that was going to be something that they could kind of, you know, step into this game and have happen. But we were on top of that. We put all of our defense on him. We made sure that we did what we need to do to neutralize him early. And even though he ended up with, I think, 20 points or more, something like that, he definitely did not get those early looks that he needed. And just the same, we jumped out on top of them as if we expected him to do so. So I thought we had the right approach in the first half, and it was why we got out to such a fantastic lead, you know. So when you expect the other team to come out hot and you jump out and be hot and they don't match it, it's like you get shocked by the fact that you get a lead like that. We just figured that we would needed to shoot this well, I think, in order to beat them, and they just didn't. You know, when you look at CJ's 3-point total, he went 1 for 10. You know, you look at who else? I think it was Richardson went 1 for. I think they didn't. You can't have that happen when the other team has a guy going, you know, hitting 7 and 8 threes and stuff like that. There's no way you're gonna be able to compete. Like I said, the turnovers was not good. I think we turned the ball over 17 times. I think we won a game where we turned the ball over 21 times as of late. So we're kind of getting away with that, but I don't think it's something that we want to ignore. We got to stop turning the ball over so much. A lot of those were unforced. I think Austin Reeves had like 4 of them himself. Type of stuff that we do want to take a look at and get better at. So, yeah, Troy Brown, I thought he bounced back given the fact that he had played so poorly in the last game, hitting a couple threes, playing better defense, rebounding the ball, just kind of getting back to his old self. He looked pretty good. Rui Hachimura hitting those big threes earlier in the game. Got out to a good start. He finished the game pretty well, too. Had a nice little turnaround jumper on BI. You know, there were a couple situations where I thought he could have made life easier for himself by looking to pass a little bit instead of keeping his head down, going for the aggressive score. But overall, I thought he played a really good game and contributed quite a bit to what we did. Dennis Schroeder was quiet tonight, but I think it had a lot to do with the fact that the other guards were just playing so well. It was kind of hard to really get him going. I think since D'Lo's come back, it's been hard to kind of work him into the equation, which has been very unfortunate because of how well he's been playing since D'Lo was out. But it just is what it is, you know. When you got a player like that coming back, you just got to prioritize him, and it just is what it is. And I think we're good. You know, we're doing very well. Obviously, we're very happy with how D'Lo's been, you know, passing the rock and just getting guys involved, playing under control. Like I said, he didn't have his most efficient night tonight, but he did hit the ones he needed to hit, especially early on, looking for guys, looking for Anthony Davis. And I think that's where I'm most happy, because no matter what's going on, he's doing what he needs to do to look for Anthony Davis. Sort of like Russell Westbrook did, but even more intent, obviously, because he's making great decisions out there and playing under control. But that's what I really like. I think Darvin has made it intent, you know, to basically tell, you know, D'Lo to be the designator AD starter. You know, you got to get him going, because if you don't, he may not. So I think AD understood. I think D'Lo understood that assignment and has done a really, really good job of passing up shots that he could take for himself and getting those looks for Anthony Davis and others. So, it's much has been said about D'Angelo Russell wanting to be the Lakers' point guard today. I think that's the word on the street is that he really wants to be our player, and I want him here. Obviously he's gonna be someone we need to pay a nice, handsome amount. So you don't want to get to a point where his contract is one that you don't want to have. But given the fact of how he's shooting, given the fact of how he's running the offense, and just overall how fantastic our team has looked since he was acquired, along with the other guys that we've just picked up, I don't think there's any reason we should want anybody to replace him at this point. We need his size, we need his length, we need his shooting, his poise, his killer instinct, and just his ability to bust open the game. When you saw what he did out there a couple of games ago, as I said, shooting the ball and just kind of leaving the Memphis Grizzlies without any chance. And then you see Malik Beasley do that tonight. You realize that, we're able to kind of flex in ways that don't have to have LeBron James playing great, that don't have to have Anthony Davis playing great. We're able to win games off of the strength of those guys' talent. And that's going to be invaluable in a playoff series because those are the type of things that you need to happen in order to win a series. You're not going to be able to win with AD and Bron every night. You're going to need your role players to be stars in certain games in the playoffs. And I just feel like we have the right type of roster to where we know we're going to get a Malik Beasley playoff game. We know we're going to get a Vanderbilt playoff game, an Austin Reeves playoff game. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. And teams are going to have to deal with the fact that we have those type of role players. I think about the Boston Celtics, and usually in the playoffs, you see a Marcus Smart playoff game. You know what I mean? It's always these teams that are really, really good that have these role players that you can count on just doing crazy, fantastic things in a random game 4 or random game 6. This is what we have, the type of players that I expect to do those type of things. So, as I said in the halftime video, nobody wants to see us. I wouldn't want to see us. I didn't get a chance to look at the standings after this game, but as it stands, we definitely find ourselves ahead of the New Orleans Pelicans, and hopefully things went well with the Brooklyn game. Last I checked, Brooklyn was down by 5. We need the Brooklyn Nets to, I think it was, they're playing the Nuggets. Never mind, no, that's not the right matchup. But the Timberwolves matchup we're paying attention to, and there was another matchup, I think, I don't remember who it was. The new Oklahoma City, I think, is playing tonight as well. So we just got to keep our eyes open for these type of games. And just overall keep an eye on the West because we need everybody to lose. And I love the fact that we took care of a game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Like we said, we have the same record as them. Obviously, we got all kinds of different stuff, motivational factors against wanting to beat them. We don't even want to list all of them. It's about 100 of them. But the point is, this is not the team to lose to. And we came out and scored 75 points on them in the first half, broke our 3-point record, and demoralized them completely. And even though they had a really, really significant run in that third quarter, having scored 35 points, I think, in that third quarter, and it didn't matter because the lead that we had was so significant that even when we took our foot off the gas, they couldn't overcome it. So it's a very, very impressive win. I thought it would have been much more impressive if we could have kept the 40-point deficit throughout. I think it would have been much more of a statement. But overall, you just want to make sure you get the ones you have to win, and that's what we did. We won it. However it looks, we won it. So that's the most important thing. Shout out to Malik Beasley. He's definitely getting the game ball from me. Even though Anthony Davis had the 35 and 17, and I don't think we can succeed without what he did on both sides of the floor. I still want to get the ball to Beasley, man. I still do. Just when it really comes down to it, he was the difference for real. He was why they couldn't come back. He was why there was no game to be played, basically. When he's shooting like that, no one can beat us, honestly. No one can beat us. The problem is we're only getting that out of him every 1 out of 8 games. Every 8 games he plays like this. And while it's very, very special to see it, now I'm poised for him to go back 1 for 11 and give me 3 rebounds and 4 assists in the next game. And that's the problem. It's like, Malik, are you going to do this again? Or is this the one game that we get out of you and now we got to kind of manage you until you do this again? That's the problem. It's like, you love that we saw this, and it's definitely something that can be scary, but you got to look at the fullness of all that is happening and just say, is this fool's goal, and is it going to coerce us into attempting 53s in the next game and we're only going to hit 11 of them? Because we still must win every game. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we got to stay disciplined and not get coerced into thinking anything other than every game and every possession is important. Essentially what I'm saying. We won this game. We're happy we hit a bunch of shots, but we got to look at it as we gave up 30, almost 30 points of a 40-point lead, man. We got to look at it that way. We have to stay on top of ourselves if we want to be as good as we're expecting to be. You know what I mean? We can't get comfortable. So I'm proud of this team. They're showing me they made it the right stuff as it pertains to, meeting the urgency necessary. But I have a deeper desire to see more killer instinct. I'm not satisfied. I'm of that Mamba mentality, and this is a game you win by 50. You know what I mean? Especially against this opponent, given the fact that all this stuff is going on with them. You don't want them coming back in this game at all. Not only that, but I was kind of disappointed that we even had to see Anthony Davis in the fourth quarter of this game. You go up by 40 and you still have him on the floor with 6 minutes to go. Not that we shouldn't have based on the circumstances, but that those circumstances shouldn't have been, because we should have had our foot on the gas killing them by 50 points by the time that even happened. So, I'm always the pessimist as it pertains to not cheering while everybody else is cheering, because I always think there's something within that can get you beat in the next game if you buy into it too much. And since we must win everything, I think that's the smartest way to play. Always be hungry, never satisfied, always looking at what you didn't do right as a means of getting better, so that whenever you go up against that perfect opponent, he's not beating you more so than you're beating whatever it is that your tendencies are. So that's what it is I like to do. I think that's what greatness is made of. And two, celebrating when you do well as well. Enjoying the game that you're playing. So shout out to the team for being fantastic on the road, getting the game that we know we must win there. Now we got a game against the Houston Rockets. Do not relax. They beat the Celtics tonight. And as I told people, they're really playing well. You got to picture it like this. Any team that sucks, that gets their guy back, that can create plays for others and hit a bunch of shots and cross people up and stuff like that, they're going to be a better team. When John Morant comes back to the Memphis Grizzlies, they're a better team. If Fox is out and he comes back to sacks, they're a better team. You get the point. Trae Young out, same thing. What I want everybody to understand is that's how I look at their guard. You know what I mean? Their situation is similar. You bring a guy like KPJ back, Kevin Porter Jr., and he's capable of getting 25 points and 17 assists. Now, everybody else on the floor is significantly more dangerous because of that. He is going to make Jabari Smith better, Green better, all those other young players better, Martin better. And what we understand about them is that they are a very athletic team. They got athletes all over the floor, guys that can jump out the gym, guys that can string 8 and 9 threes together themselves. And it is their home floor, coming off a big game where they won against the Celtics team where they had no business winning. So I don't expect they're going to come out and beat us. The likelihood that they're going to win 2 games in a row is very, very slim, given the fact that they're tanking. But they have everything sewed up, meaning that they've been eliminated. The Spurs have also been eliminated. And now, and you look at Detroit, the other team that's tanking, I think they've been eliminated as well. So what that means is those teams can now stop tanking. They can simply just say, let's get some moral victories and add them up, because everything is what it's going to be. All the teams, basically all 3 of them, agree at the same time without actually saying it. Let's just go out and win and see what happens, because we're playing with house money. We've already done our job. So for me, I'm looking at the Rockets as a team that's probably going to play their very best game against us, just like they did the Celtics. They caught the Celtics off guard because the Celtics weren't thinking like that. They didn't see that coming. I did. I've been watching the Houston Rockets do this for the last couple games, ever since KPJ came back. So what I'm telling you is we got to take them as seriously as we take the OKC Thunder as it pertains to them being a young team that can come out and hurt us if we don't play like they're a playoff team, because that's just where they're at in their timeline. There's nothing to lose for anymore. They got it all sewed up, and they got all the talent in the world to flex and win anytime they really want to. Alperen Sengun, Green, KPJ, plethora of young guys, man. Christopher, Ty Washington, Garuba, all of those guys are lottery picks, man. I'm forgetting one that I really, really like too, Terry Eason. They're lottery picks, all them dudes. So what it really comes down to is their front 8 players, if they all play as well as they can, they could put up 150, 60 points. They've done it before. So I've been on record saying this is one of the best young teams ever assembled based on the lottery talent and how well I think they can fit with one another. And I'm not wavering. I think they deliberately lost for several seasons in a row trying to build what it is that I think they've already begun to build, which is a super team, a dynasty-like super team if they can just keep all these guys' bird rights and re-sign them. What I'm telling you is we could go out there and play our best game, and they could play their best game, and we might find ourselves in a situation where we lost, because that is exactly how much talent they truly have when they want to win. When they truly want to win, they have that much. And that's how high the upside of those players are. So I don't expect to lose. Just, I don't. But what I'm telling you is neither did the Celtics. You feel me? Neither did the Celtics. So that's what it really comes down to. We need to be ready, just like we were tonight. Get out early on that bad team, blow them out too, and let's get some rest for a 5 or 6 game homestand that's coming up after that. So it's going to be good times ahead, especially since we knocked off the most important game on this road trip, which was this one. Definitely this one. So we win the series against the New Orleans Pelicans 3-1. That's good for bragging rights. It's also good for our prospects of getting past them in the playoffs. If we happen to run into them some magical way, we have home court, which ain't going to happen. But, all of the different things that make you feel good about just taking care of certain teams in the Western Conference that you may have to see. So that's that. We're happy about it. So yeah, that's what it is, man. We're on a nice little 2-game road trip. Nothing too incredibly serious. A hop skip from New Orleans to Houston and back home again. And I don't know if that Houston game is tomorrow, but I think it is, man. I think it's a back-to-back, but I'm not certain about that. But we'll be ready if it is. Either way, we got a game to appreciate tonight. 40-point lead the Lakers had, man. 40-point lead. We gotta really give credit to the team for just overall shooting the ball so incredibly well. And it was good that they did, because they just hadn't been seeing that fall very well at all. When you consider how bad Troy Brown shot in the last game, 0 for 8. Just consider how bad Malik Beasley himself shot in the last game. I think he was 4 for 12. So for him to bounce back and have whatever it was tonight, I can't seem to remember, 7 threes. I'm sure it was 7 threes. 7 to 10 or something. I think it was 7 to 10. I think that's what I'll land on. 7 to 10 is what I think it was. 7 out of 10, I'm going to say that. But whatever the case, he shot the Pelicans into oblivion. That's really what it came down to. He shot them into a complete oblivion, and then Anthony Davis on the interior was just as efficient. And when those two things are taking place, Bron can sit back and be comfortable, because he doesn't even need to be on the floor for us to blow teams completely and utterly out. So that's what I got to say, man. I think the happiest person in the world right now is LeBron James, because he knows he's coming back to a real team, man. He's coming back to a real team. And even though I have some reservations about his shot selection and what it will mean, or his defensive prowess and what it will mean if he comes back and doesn't play a certain way, he's going to have to be a little more blendable, I think, in order to kind of allow these guys to continue getting their rhythm while he's on the floor. I think that's going to be important. But I'm pretty sure LeBron James is one of the best players in the world at figuring out what he needs to do and what he doesn't need to do, especially in a situation where it's time to win and everybody's good enough. The situations we've seen LeBron be in mostly is just situations where the team ain't good enough. You got a situation where everybody can play well. That's a good problem to have, and I think it's a problem he's wanted for a long time. So I look forward to seeing him up his assist total. I look forward to seeing him continue to pick his spots comfortably. I look forward to seeing him sacrifice 3-point shots. Set 3-point shots that he loves to take for whatever reason. I would love to see him continue to sacrifice those for this team, because I think it'll go a long way. Also, I want to see him sacrifice some of the playmaking duties to D'Angelo Russell, which shouldn't be hard because he did it for Russell Westbrook. So I want to see him do the just same thing for D'Angelo Russell. I think I have a great deal of more trust in him than I had in Russell Westbrook to run the offense and get guys involved. And so I want to see that. I want to see Bron off the ball a lot more while D'Lo's on the floor. Let him run it. Let him make good decisions. He's a killer, too. That killer's a killer. Like, he's really looking to demoralize the other team, run the score up, and keep it up. And so that's exactly what I want from my forward general. It's somebody I trust to get the ball to in any situation, basically. I think the ball's going to fall every time he touches it. I just really like D'Angelo Russell for our team right now, man. I really do. He's developed into one of the most elite 3-point shooters out there, I think. And like I said, he plays under control. His game is low to the ground, so I think it's going to age very well. He has good touch around the rim, passes extremely well, stuff like that, and he's continuing to grow. He's got upside. He's not even 30 yet. And I just think in his personal life, he has a young kid now, so he's playing for something. He's not the same kid he was when we picked him up. He has different things in his life that matter to him, and he's playing for a bag for a purpose. And so I like where we're at with him. I think we're catching him right in the entering of his prime, and I think his best basketball would be played in our uniform if we sign him to a nice deal. So I think we're set, man. I really do. I don't think the Lakers should look no further. I think we should pay him what he's worth, and I think we should pay Austin Reeves as well and keep those players together. And I think we'll be rolling. I like Malik Beasley too. I want to keep these guys. I would not be upset if we return with the same squad next year. It's going to be hard to keep Lonnie Walker. You know what I mean? I don't see him wanting to resign after this. But, at the end of the day, we have a hell of a deep team. And if we bring everybody back next year and don't have an injury season, I don't see why we can't compete for a championship next year as well. So that's what I learned tonight. That's exactly what I've learned. Another thing I learned, I want to kind of capture this thought. I watched, I think it was Rui Hachimura attacking with his back to the basket, and he drew a foul. I believe it was against B.I. And I think that was what I saw. And it was just a situation that I saw where, because he attacks from the mid-range in such an unorthodox way, he can draw fouls that a lot of other players won't draw. He could take advantage of certain, as I like to call them, synchronized shooting fouls. You know what I mean? Fouls that they call on the whistle just at random. He could take advantage of those in ways that a lot of players don't because of how he attacks with his back to the basket, looking to fade away like Mike and stuff like that. There are certain fouls that you're only going to draw if you're set up to attempt shots that way. And that's something that I think that I had like a eureka moment watching him do in the first quarter as he was drawing that foul. I'm like, yo, we need to try to coerce teams into trying to defend him in those spots, because I do think we're going to get those calls a lot of the time. So that's just something that came to mind. I'm like, yo, because it was frustrating. And I'm like, why are we allowing him to do that when we have so many other things that we can do offensively? And then it dawned on me because of that. Because you can draw the foul that way. You can get a guy like B.I. off the floor. No different than any other foul drawing situation. So that's what I wanted to say. I think the Lakers did a good job of drawing fouls on both sides of the floor tonight. I thought they did a good job of being physical with this team, despite being up by a lot. Rebounding the ball. I thought Anthony Davis took it to the Pelicans, even though we were up by 30. He was still intent on being drawing contact as he was attacking in the inside. Wasn't settling for jump shots. Wasn't settling for three-point shots just because we were so successful hitting him in the first half. So I think that's one of the reasons why we kind of let the lead go, and I don't think it's a bad thing. What I mean by that is D'Angelo Russell and the Lakers were intent on feeding the ball to Anthony Davis in the third quarter instead of continuing to shoot the ball in the way that got us the lead in the first place. I think we were intent on saying, okay, we got this lead, so let's try to run some stuff that will ultimately make for us being a better team instead of just continuing to focus on the score of this game. And so I think that we kind of got into some errors in that way. Of course, they turned it. They have pride. They're a proud team on the other side there. So I thought that they were bringing the natural intensity of a team that's down by 100 that needs to win the game they're in, and coupling that with us trying to do things, that maybe we weren't really good at yet, practicing, so to speak, certain things, I think ultimately is why we got back in the game. I'm not sure if that's what was going on, but that's what it looked like to me. So, yeah. All in all, we shoot this well, and then CJ goes 1 for 10. Bingo. Game over. Anthony Davis gets to the line. What was it? 15 out of 16? Something like that. It was something like that. 16 out of 17. Bingo. Can't lose that way. And after he went 1 for 5 at the free throw line in the last game, him going up almost 100% tonight was stellar. We needed that, and we need it every night too. So yeah, man, full team effort. I love what I saw out of just about everybody. Austin Reeves contributed greatly off the bench. Rui Hachimura greatly off the bench. Vanderbilt rebounded the ball pretty well. Got some dunks early on in the first half. I thought he contributed quite a bit to the lead growing. Wenyen Gabriel as well. He did good things with the minutes, even though he had some fumbling plays. He was not as quite on balance as he has been in the first half of the season. With the minutes that he's been given in the second half of the season, but I am glad he's getting more minutes this year in the second half. That is definitely something I'm very happy to see. Still need to get another center though. I think we fantastically got away with it, if that's a way to put it. Got away with it without any trouble, but eventually it could bite us. We just can't assume that everything's going to be just fine if we do not add another center to this team, in my humble opinion. But if we shoot like this, it can mask a lot of problems. If AD plays like this, it's going to mask a lot of problems. So I didn't particularly hate the rotations tonight. I think it's because the stuff that we usually do that doesn't worked. When Malik Beasley shoots this well, you can't feel bad about starting him. You know what I mean? And it just slotted everybody else into the proper position tonight. Given the fact that he got out to such a phenomenal start. It's what you hope to see every time you start him. So that's it, man. That is really the gist of what I got. I forgot to say salute to the Kobe minute. I am sorry that I often forget that, but I never want to. At the end of the day, we were just so excited about our team. We were shooting the ball in ways that even Kobe didn't get a chance to appreciate, man. He ain't never shot no 15 3-point shots in the first half of the game. That was a franchise record that we will definitely not forget. And the key to appreciating it the most is to not think you're ever going to replicate that again. You got to continue to attack on the inside, rebound the ball, keep your defensive principles, guard the perimeter, and do all the different things that you need to do every game so that when the ball isn't falling like that, you still have an opportunity to compete at a high level. So that's what it's about. We don't want to drink the fool's gold. We don't want to think that we're going to shoot like that every night. We appreciate when we do. It's once in a blue moon, and that blue moon ain't probably coming back around like this again. So keep attacking properly, do things the right way, and we'll keep on winning games, because that's ultimately what this is all about. We ain't done nothing yet. We're still in the play-in tournament. We want out of that. At the end of the day, 7th seed, 8th seed, ain't none of that good enough for us. We want home court advantage. We do not want to play extra basketball. We got old guys, fragile guys coming back from injury. We don't want to play no extra basketball. So let's continue to win these games. Take the Rockets extremely seriously. Beat them. And let's keep on rolling. That's what I got to say, man. Great win tonight, Lakers. Malik Beasley, of course, gets that game ball. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.